on in. Good morning, everyone, and welcome into another week of First Take. Huge weekend of football to discuss. Hope you enjoyed. As you can see, rolling solo in studio, but don't you worry. Max and Stephen A are ready to go. Both are in Los Angeles. Ryan Clark will also be here shortly. Good morning, guys. Hello. Look at those two handsome devils.
How are you, Stephen A?
Yeah. What's up?
It's one of those. It's one of those. I have a feeling I know what that's about. Let's get into it, gentlemen. We're going to have some fun. Coming up, Jimmy G looking
Cat got your tongue? Stephen A, you upset about something?
I want to talk to you right now, Max. I really, really don't.
Don't
tick me off. Don't tick me off this early. Don't do it.
Sorry, Molly.
All right, let's do it. So they looked unstoppable against the Finns before leaving with a shoulder injury. Should the Pats trade Garoppolo when Tom Brady returns from suspension? We'll get into that in just a bit. But we start with an NFC East battle in the nation's capital. It went down to the wire at FedEx Field. How about Washington up 3 early in the fourth with a chance to clinch until Kirk Cousins threw an interception on 3rd and goal from the 6th. The Cowboys went ahead on the ensuing possession. Dak Prescott driving his offense for 80 yards and the game-winning touchdown, leading Dallas to their first win of the season, 27-23 over those Redskins. Stephen A., was this more about how good the Cowboys were or how bad the Redskins looked?
Well, I mean, damn. Look, man, look, they had a good day, okay? They had a good day, all right? I mean, Dak Prescott, 22 of 30, 292 yards. Another game without an interception. Running for a 6-yard TD run. He deserves credit. Ezekiel Elliott may have fumbled twice, but he still showed up. Averaged almost 4 yards a carry. Had a 21-yard run, had a touchdown run. He deserves a little bit of credit because he stepped up after his putrid performance in Game 1 of this regular season. He deserves credit. Des Bryant had 7 receptions, over 100 yards. First time he had a 100-yard game since 2014. He deserves credit. I'm going to give Dak Prescott a lot of credit because in between the seams, not outside the number, but in between the seams, he's completing about 77% of his passes. I can't ignore that. I really, really can't. I got to give him credit for that. Cole Beasley stepped up. He's been a reliable weapon for Dak Prescott. So is Jason Witten. I got to give credit for that. I got to give credit to Dallas's defense because the Redskins were in there, they were in position to score in the red zone like 5 times. They came away with a touchdown, 3 field goals, and an interception. 2 of those times, the onside kick, inexplicable on the part of Jason Garrett. They still held them to a field goal. Another situation, they held them to a field goal. That interception that Kirk Cousins threw with 10.5 minutes left, as stupid as it was, the bottom line is Dallas's defense surrounded Pierre Garçon because they knew that's where Kirk Cousins was going, and they were able to recognize his transparency, which is something that the Dallas Cowboys have struggled to do in years past. And in the end, what it comes down to, much to my chagrin, on this particular day, I have to give Dallas credit. Not only today. Don't think for 1 second that it goes beyond today. Don't think for 1 second that it goes beyond this week. It's an aberration. It's an aberration. The Dallas Cowboys showed up yesterday in the nation's capital. Only 2 victories in their last 16 meetings without Tony Romo. Both of them came against the Redskins. That's not an accident. But the bottom line is, even though they deserve credit, and I want to make sure that everybody recognizes that I'm giving them credit. It's only for this week. It's just an aberration. It's just week 2, okay? But today, I got to give it up to them. They showed up. They did what they needed to do, Max. And that is it.
Listen.
I said it, okay? Okay?
If the question is this good Dallas or bad Washington, the answer is bad Washington. And the result doesn't surprise me. We didn't learn anything new about Dallas. We knew that they have a great offensive line and real skills position players, although a couple of them are young, behind that offensive line. That is a formula that's going to lead to scoring some points. They're going to be okay there this season. The issue is on Dallas is the defense, etc. But this is bad Washington. Washington coming into this season was favored by many because they won the division last year. But let's look at what that division was last year. You had a Giants team that, while not very good, blew 4 leads with 75 seconds left in the game. 4 of them. Normally a Giants team that finishes games very well in the Eli Manning era, that was going to regress to the mean. That was going to change. They weren't going to lose 4 games like that. And had they not last year, they're a 10-win team. You look at the Eagles last year in the Chip Kelly kind of, the throes of the Chip Kelly revolt. They were dysfunctional. Washington and Dallas lost Tony Romo, and once they did, without a real backup quarterback, their season ended. That was the division that Washington won last year. This is not a very good team, and Kirk Cousins, who did not get a long-term deal, got a 1-year deal for big money, but that quarterbacks cost big money, did not look good, and that's not the worst part of it for Washington. There are reports that offensive players are complaining. They don't complain just because you have one bad game. That means they're seeing things in practice, they're seeing things in the game over time that are adding up to leading them to believe that Kirk Cousins may not be good enough, and let's be honest, the jury is out on him. That's bad Washington. Stephen A., the proof in the pudding is 0-2 good or bad? They're now 0-2, and this is a team that was kind of lucky to have the record they had last year.
Well, listen, don't annoy me by forcing me to remind you that once upon a time the Dallas Cowboys were 0-2 and won a Super Bowl, for crying out loud. Granted, it was more than 20 years ago. I had more hair on my head and my wardrobe was considerably less than it was considerably worse than it is now, and my pockets certainly were not as deep. But the bottom line is it has happened before where a team was 0-2 and ended up getting to the playoffs, or dare I say winning a Super Bowl, and one of them happened to be the Dallas Cowboys. The other thing that you have to remember this, Max, is this. When we look at the Washington Redskins, you can call it bad Redskins. I'm going to give Dallas credit where credit is due, because it didn't matter how bad you were. It didn't matter how moribund you were. It didn't matter how discombobulated, disoriented, fragmented, or whatever the case may be, you were. If you went against the Dallas Cowboy, that was your remedy. That was your medicine, because nobody was worse than them.
Not when they had a quarterback. Not when they had a quarterback.
Oh, stop it. The fact of the matter is, hold on, wait a minute. A couple of years ago, Max, they went 12-4. The years before that, there were back-to-back 8-8 seasons where they lost the last game of the regular season with Tony Romo as their quarterback.
But 8-8 is a solid team. By definition, that's a solid team.
Not in my world, maybe in the world of Max Kellerman, and I'm glad you defined what good, excuse me, I am glad that you defined what good is to you. I don't accept 8-8 as being good. I accept 8-8 as being flagrantly mediocre, and mediocre is not something that I think is good. A person with your extensive vocabulary should be able to appreciate this. That is the epitome of mediocrity.
Stephen
and
A., what you are missing.
That is what the Cowboys have been.
What you're missing is, look, how did Kirk Cousins look yesterday?
He all right. I mean, it wasn't that impressive.
Why do you think offensive players are complaining about Kirk Cousins because he makes the Dallas Cowboys defense look like the '85 Bears at times? No, they're complaining about him. He just wasn't very good. And by the way, this is an adding up thing, but yesterday may have been the straw that broke the camel's back for them. He wasn't good, Stephen A. And then you look at the defense. Second worst point differential in the NFL. It's very early, but second worst in the entire league, and they're third worst in points allowed. That's a bad defense. So you have an offense that's not worth third worst in points allowed, an offense that's not good behind a quarterback that is so bad that his team is questioning him. Offensive players, reports are coming out in the media, and a defense that is 29th out of 32 in points allowed.
I can't believe you're making me do this.
Team.
I can't believe you're making me do this. Once again, I mean, are you trying to make me sick on purpose and make me throw up on national television where I got to come to the defense of the Dallas Cowboys? Listen, Max, you've got a situation when you look at the Dallas Cowboys, six times they were in third down situations that they converted. 4 of those times it was 8 yards or longer they had to get to, and Dak Prescott, got it done. When you think about how awful the Redskins defense has been, if that's what you want to say, understand that primarily it's residue from what transpired during Monday Night Football. It wasn't god-awful yesterday. The game was there to be had. When Kirk Cousins threw the interception with 10.5 minutes left, they had a 3-point lead, and they were about to go up 10, and then he blew it. So, yeah.
Against a team without a defense and a rookie quarterback.
Wait a minute. The point that I'm trying to make to you is is that, again, Dallas's defense held up. And I got to give credit where credit is due in that regard. It isn't all about how bad the Redskins are. To some degree, it's about how Dak Prescott has performed. Des Bryant showed up. Cole Beasley has been a reliable commodity, okay? And I got to give credit where credit is due to that. I hate to do it, but I got to give it up. I'm a fair-minded individual, even for the pathetic Dallas Cowboys with the worst fan base in American history, as delusional as they are. On this particular day, I must say, I have to eat a little crow and give it to them, as sickening as it is.
Maybe it's because it came as a bit of a surprise to you that Dallas won the game. Didn't come as a surprise to me, so I'm not that impressed with Dallas, I guess. I didn't think that much of Washington coming in. Look, we talked about this last week. Washington needed help up front defensively. They didn't spend their resources there. They spent their resources in their secondary. That's the whole issue with the Josh Norman signing. And unfortunately for them, they start the season against two teams. They started the season against two teams with really good offensive lines. That's going to expose your deficiencies up front defensively. That's what happened. But going in, when you analyze Washington and their opponents so far, I wouldn't say that this is unexpected. They're at an 0-2 start. Their defense looks bad because it's a bad matchup in the first 2 weeks. And their offense is or their quarterback is so suspect right now that players are complaining and it's coming out in the press. That's bad Washington. And they just did that. You were talking about, well, they were in a position before Cousins throws the pick, etc., against a team that is not predicted to do very much this season with a rookie quarterback, a rookie running back, and a bad defense. I mean, they just lost to that team to go 0-2 on the season. I don't know how you could say it's not bad Washington.
Dak Prescott has thrown the ball 75 times and has not turned the ball over once. I got to give credit where credit is due, and Cole Beasley is being effective. I got to give credit where credit is due. You know I don't want to do it, but I have to. It's the right thing to do.
I love to watch you do it, though. I hate. By the way, generally I'm in the position of defending the Dallas Cowboys on this show, but I love to see you do it for a change. Hate the Dallas Cowboys.
Stephen A., let's stay with Dak Prescott now. He put up points both through the air and on the ground. His rush TD was the first by a Cowboy quarterback in 4 years, and his 75 passes are the most in a player's first 2 games in NFL history without an interception. The previous mark was held by Warren Moon for the Oilers 32 years ago. Stephen A., is Dak the real deal?
Well, let's pump the brakes now. I mean, listen. I got to give credit where credit is due, but I thank you for asking me that question, Molly, Kieran, because I don't want people to think that I'm caught up in the source that they're caught up in. Yes, 75 pass attempts, not a single turnover, first 2 games, most in NFL history for a rookie and all. I get all of that. I appreciate it. I respect it. God bless them. But it's just 2 games. Let's pump the brakes just a little bit here and recognize that even though he's got some talent, even though he is good, I'm not willing to sit up there and throw a parade for him just yet. I'm looking at the schedule here. Got another game against the Giants. Got 2 more. Got 2 coming against the Eagles. Got another game coming against the Redskins. Let's also keep that in mind. Got games on the road this year against Pittsburgh, all right, at Minnesota, at the New York Giants, at Philly, all right. They got a road game at Green Bay as well. Home games, you got Cincinnati, you got Baltimore. So, I mean, Philadelphia, Washington, of course, Detroit. I'm like, wait a minute here. Let's see what he does now that folks are figuring him out. It's going to be some film on him. Go get to study him. It's a 4th-round pick for a reason. So, again, that doesn't mean that he's not going to be good. That doesn't mean that the future may not look that bright for Tony Romo, but I'm not about to sit up here and throw a parade because he beat the Washington Redskins yesterday. It was a nice thing for him to do. He looked all right. I give him credit, but let's pump the brakes just a touch. Just a touch. I need to see more. I'm going to require that I see more. I thought he deserved credit for yesterday. That don't have a damn thing to do with next week and the weeks to follow. Let's pump the brakes just a touch, until we see more.
It's amazing to me, Stephen A. It's like the 7th wonder of the world, 8th wonder of the world. I don't understand how you are able to be on the wrong side of the argument from every different angle. So let me get this straight. That was good Dallas, not bad Washington yesterday. Wrong.
That is correct.
It was wrong, it was bad Washington. And now pump the brakes on Dak Prescott. Look, Dak Prescott is unlikely to take the Cowboys very far this season because he's a rookie quarterback, and rookie quarterbacks throughout the history of football very rarely do. But is it too early to say that Dak Prescott is the real deal? Just the eyeball test for a second. Before I get to some numbers to support this, just the eyeball test. Right from the preseason, you're looking at this guy going, okay, wait, he has an arm, he has legs, he makes good decisions with the ball, he can read defenses. I mean, like, is he good throwing the ball deep and get it back? He's a rookie quarterback, things are happening very fast. But how many rookie quarterbacks from the first time you see him in preseason look as good as Dak Prescott? He has been roundly, almost universally praised since his first preseason appearance by everyone, by former legends, by his teammates, by analytics guys who look at him and go, no, that's the real deal. You can look sometimes at a guy like, for example, we were talking about Kirk Cousins. Can you say this guy's a bum? No. But is the jury still out on him? Absolutely. He has not shown consistently that he is a franchise quarterback, so there's a question mark. You can take a guy recently like Geno Smith. You can watch him early on and go, no, it's just not quite. It ain't going to happen for this guy. You can tell sometimes. You look at Dak Prescott and you think, yep, that's a franchise quarterback. The eyeball test says yes, he is missing nothing so far. And you pointed out his excellent stats. Yes, did you point out that he's 11th in total QBR this season? That's ahead of guys like Aaron Rodgers, Cam Newton, Drew Brees. Is it very early? Of course. Will he stay ahead of those guys all season? Probably not. Will he lead the Cowboys to the playoffs? Doubtful. But is it too early to say that that kid is the real deal? The only reason I make those comments I just made that it's not going to happen is that he's a rookie. That's it. Ben, rookies basically don't do it. Almost never. Very rarely. But Dak Prescott is absolutely the real deal. You can't tell that by watching him?
Well, first of all, as inclined as I am to defer to you when it comes to the eye test, considering those big beady eyes of yours, which is as conspicuous as my receding hairline, I'm going to refrain from doing so this morning because let me tell you something right now. We are talking about the Dallas Cowboys here. I get what you're saying about Dak Prescott and talking about the eyeball test and all. Fine, but I'm thinking about the history of the Dallas Cowboys since those years they've won Super Bowl. I'm thinking about how pathetic this franchise has been. It's been the only thing consistent about the Dallas Cowboys has been their mediocrity. The aberration has taken place on the rare occasion they actually got into the playoffs, which they did close to nothing with once they got there. That's where I'm at with the Dallas Cowboys. That's where I'm at with Dak Prescott. I'm not questioning Dak Prescott's skill set. I understand that the brother looks like he can play, and he may deserve the benefit of the doubt. But you know what? Des Bryant, when healthy, is an all-pro caliber receiver to me. Got nothing but love for Des. Didn't stop the Dallas Cowboys from being mediocre. I know their offensive line is stout. Doesn't stop them from being accidents waiting to happen. The Dallas Cowboys have always had talent. So it's one thing to look at Dak Prescott and to talk about him as a talent. It's another thing to imply that somehow, some way, he's going to be able to erase, to omit, to eradicate the level of ineptitude that these guys consistently have put forth throughout the course of 20-plus years of counting. You got an owner, for example. In my mind, he's a Hall of Famer because Jerry Jones is hype machine personified, knows how to make money for the Dallas Cowboys, brings hype to them, gets the headlines, the attention, and all of this other stuff, which is all an owner can do because he can't go out there and play for them. Got the billion-dollar playpen, definitely pays his players, etc. Got the nice helicopter now that brings him to practice. How has that worked for them? I'm still not sold. Somehow, some way, the Dallas Cowboys always have somebody you can point to, you can look at and say, that dude is legit. I like that dude. He can play for me. Blah, 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 blah. But in the end, what does it come down to in terms of what they get done and what they don't get done? The answer is not much.
Well,
because they're a
argument...
Dallas Cowboy, and that's Dak Prescott that I'm talking about here. He's nice, but the second Max Kellerman and others start blowing him up, to a point where he gets and warrants that attention, you're going to get in his way and force that black cat that's perpetually around the Dallas Cowboys to come out, and it's going to contaminate Dak Prescott. I'm actually looking out for Dak Prescott more than Dallas Cowboy fans because I am the one that's pumping the brake. I'm looking out for him. I'm trying to help him because the second y'all blow him up, he's going to fall because he's a Dallas Cowboy.
Look, if your argument is that there's a systemic problem with the Dallas Cowboys, and Jerry Jones won't fire himself as the GM,
go ahead and say it.
Did a pretty good job drafting Dak Prescott. No, you're wrong. You're exactly wrong. You just disproved your own argument. If your argument is that Dak Prescott somehow becomes the repository for everything that's wrong with the Dallas Cowboys, you want to put it all on him. Oh, okay, I guess you can blame Dak. He can't play defense, too. He can't draft for Jerry Jones, too, although as Stephen Jones has gained more control, they're making good moves like drafting Dak Prescott. But if we're just talking about this guy, is he the real deal or is it too early to say? I don't think it's too early to say. Some may, for example, Stephen A., you may feel it's too early to say, but let me say right now, the kid is the real deal, and he just, in his second week as a pro, he just went on the road and beat a divisional rival. And I know that Washington isn't good, and I just argued that's bad Washington. But from Prescott's point of view, on the road, divisional rival, a win, no interceptions, real deal. By the way, and on top of everything else I mentioned, he commands the huddle. His teammates like him. He energizes them. They want to play for him. They want to play with him. 100% the real McCoy.
100%. After 2 games, you should be ashamed of yourself. That's nonsensical. Go ahead, Molly. I don't even have time right now.
All right,
Anything
agree
to
to
disagree.
disagree. So Dak and the Cowboys will get Chicago on Sunday, and don't forget that Chicago, of course, plays tonight on Monday Night Football. So looking forward to them facing an NFC East team in the Eagles. So we got the guys' opinions on Mr. Prescott, but now we want to hear from you guys. When Tony Romo is healthy, which quarterback should Dallas start? Go on Twitter now and vote. We want to hear from you guys. We'll share those results a little later in the show.